to get on here and let everybody know the updates, what's going on. It's been a crazy couple weeks, y'all. I want to let y'all know that I have not stopped my fight. You know, it's not because I'm stopping with it or not going to refile it or anything like that. It's just a lot going on behind closed doors. Hey, we got to step back and play chess, not check.
The courtroom wasn't just a room that day, it was a bomb waiting to go off. Every corner was heavy with silence, the kind that feels like it's pressing down on your chest, suffocating you. Every single breath sounded louder than footsteps on marble floors. People sat frozen, eyes darting to the bench because everyone knew just one sentence could destroy reputations, rewrite stories, and shatter lives. This wasn't a normal hearing. No, this was the day Jay-Z, Sean Carter himself, was about to be stripped of control.
I believe wholeheartedly that Jay's your father.
I really do. And if it's not, why you can't prove me wrong? Like, it's not far as a proving me wrong thing. It's go to the courtroom and basically do what everybody else would have to do. Like, it's not, you don't have to prove me wrong. I just want the truth. Honestly, I can take a no. I can take, if I'm embarrassed at the end of the day, I can take that. I really can. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. I could take me being embarrassed. Like, I just can't take nobody not saying nothing. Like, you know, it's not fair. I was 7. My mom had to sit down with me. I guess she thought I was old enough to know now, and she been saying Sean Carter, that's what she was calling him at first before she was calling it Jay-Z, and I really didn't know who that was because I was young and, you know, had my little brother, and I really wasn't worrying about it. She was saying it a lot, but I really just was going along with the person I was just seeing, like the person I looked at who was taking care of me at that time. I really wasn't really trying to understand what my mom was talking about, but she constantly put it in my head like, son, it's not your father, and I really want you to know it is. This person is your father, and I just want you to know. She continued to tell me that over the years and over the years and over the years, even until I was grown. He never tried to contact me in any type of way, and that's all I'm asking is, like, because I honestly really want the case to be over with. Like, I've been going through, just like I said, a lot, and as I said, I'm not chasing nobody. I'm not trying to do this to make somebody seem like a bad person, a bad father. I'm not trying to make nobody seem like a bad person or nothing. I'm just really coming out here for the truth. I don't want no money or anything. I wasn't looking for none of that. I just want to know the truth. And if I can't go to the courts and get the truth, like, what is it really? Why are you? What is it? I just really want it over. It's something that's really affecting my life, and I just want it over with. I work every day. I also have my own kids to take care of. So it's like, it's been a journey for me, and it's just like, you know, I just got so much on my name right now. I never ask for money. I don't do interviews just saying, hey, Jay-Z, give me your money, or I'm coming at the Jay-Z for his money. I never did that. I'm not that type of person. I work for everything. I work for everything. Next is, I'm just trying to basically make sure no other kids or nobody else in the world has to go through this. Basically, don't feel afraid to go to court and see if a person is your biological parents. You know, so many people are scared, and this is a big thing in the world. A lot of people don't have their fathers because they scared to go out and search for them, and sometimes it only take a little search. You know, go search, and if it's wrong, we're adults. Well, most of us adults, even for the teenagers, this being a role model for them, showing you can go in the courtroom, and if you're doing everything correctly, you should be able to just get treated as equal as the other person. I've always been a person that I never hate anyone. I never, you know, I don't walk around with hate for a person. So I try to teach my kids that just be the best that you can be. So that's just a model I go off. I would never hate Jay-Z. You know, it was never that type thing. You know, I respect him for everything he did. And as I said, I've been going through a whole lot through these years because this case, like me, my mom, my godmom, we didn't see the worst. We didn't have people, you know, slander my name like you want Jay.
At the very center of this storm sat Jay-Z. Normally, his name dripped with power, dominance, and untouchable influence. Billion-dollar empire, music mogul, the man who never flinched. But today, none of that mattered. His fortune, his legacy, his dynasty, it all dangled in midair, tied to one fragile truth about to explode in front of the world. The judge shuffled papers with a face that betrayed nothing. But his voice? It carried the weight of a wrecking ball. The entire room leaned in as if oxygen itself depended on those words. Lawyers sat stiff, whispering in panic. Reporters' pens trembled against notepads, ready to set the internet on fire. And outside, barricades barely held back fans, some screaming his name, others ready to boo him down. It was as if the world had stopped spinning, waiting for the truth to finally hit.
I don't know what it is between Nicki Minaj. I know she said something about the son, Jay-Z's son.
Yeah, but he just dropped that lawsuit.
Or she did.
You know, but he said he's still gonna file. I don't know. I don't think that's his son.
I do.
You do? Why do you say that?
I don't think Jay-Z would offer him no money at all if it wasn't his son.
I don't think he offered him
Yeah,
money.
he offered him money.
Really?
Yeah.
See, but sometimes, listen, you gotta understand. You've never been sued, have you?
No.
I've been sued multiple times. Like, you reach a point where financially it makes sense to settle, right? Like, I had a lawsuit where she wanted like $600,000. It was like a former employee that was just came up with a whole bullshit, accusation that had nothing to do with me, and blah blah blah. It was just a whole bullshit situation, and ultimately, we got to the point where we spent about $75,000 already in legal fees, and she ultimately said, "I'll take $75,000 to settle." So it was going to be like, all right, we've already spent $75,000. If we go to court, I'm going to spend probably another $300,000, and I could probably win because there's really nothing here. But do I want to? Once I spend the $300,000, I can't sue her. And get it back.
And even if you win, you still lost.
I still lost.
Yeah.
I won, but I've just spent $400,000, right? So do I want to just back up out of it with $75,000, or do I want to spend $400,000 to make a point? I don't have $400,000 to make a point. Jay got $400,000 to make a point.
Let me ask you a question though. If you pop somebody's mom, pop the lady, would you take the test?
What do you mean?
So say it's a kid like, yo, I think you might be my dad. You pop the mom, would you take? I'm asking you, would you take the test?
Well, the problem with this story is that they're saying the mom was underage.
I'm saying, but besides all I'm saying, it might be your son. But that part, like, all right, the mom of the age.
The underage part makes it all very dicey. See what I'm saying? Like,
so past the fact that might be your son.
What do you mean?
Like, so if it might be a son, like, because the mom was underage, you wouldn't want to find out.
I mean, if it's going to ruin your whole life.
I don't think it'll ruin his whole life.
You made a very bad decision 30 years ago.
But your son? So you see, my thing is this, I'm not running from, if it's my son, I want to know.
Yeah, listen, I get it, right? And I have kids
Especially
as well.
If I got $1 billion, I'm not.
I have kids as well, and I think it's a very hard choice because it's just, and the mom is dead at this point.
Yeah, it's the same.
So, but then again,
it's not hard for me.
You're gonna, if Jay takes that DNA test and it proves to be positive, he's gonna be Jay the pedophile, right?
But don't your kids come before you? They supposed to.
They're supposed to.
So imagine you had a kid out here, the mom died when he was about 10, 11 years old. He's been out here by himself, right?
Look,
would you care about your image more than a possible seed that's yours?
I think Jay cares about his image.
Of course you know what I'm saying, but most men, I don't think, if you take 100 men, I take 50-50, it'd be 50-50.
I don't know, man.
Especially if you already 50-something years old. It ain't like you 10, 20, 25.
It's Jay-Z. He's married to Beyonce. He's got a huge company. He's got, that NFL deal would go away just like that. I mean, everything would go away. Everything would go away. I mean, he'd still be rich as hell, but...
And then it did. The judge's words dropped like a thunderclap. The DNA results were official. No room for doubt. The test matched. The whispers, the speculation, the years of denial, it all ended in one brutal blow. The truth stood clear. Rymir was Jay-Z's son. The air cracked with gasps. Reporters nearly fell over themselves to scribble every syllable. Headlines writing themselves before the ink even touched paper. Cameras flashed like lightning, and outside, the crowd erupted like an earthquake. Chants turned into screams. Whispers into shouts. Social media lit up instantly, hashtags climbing into global trends within seconds. Jay-Z's fortress of denial collapsed. The rumors weren't rumors anymore. They were fact.
He thinks that a lot of Jay-Z's success was because he was married to Beyonce.
I don't think that's true.
No?
No. Because before he was getting married to Beyonce, he was popping already.
That's true, but he got more popping with Beyonce.
But I can see why 50 Cent would say that. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand 50 Cent saying that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Jay-Z, even if he might steal your songs, he might do all that, but Jay-Z is a rapping ass person. Like, I mean, he got drive. And he's smart. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, like, he's going to bust a move out. I think it helped both of them being together. I think it helped both of them. It made both of them. You know what I mean? So, like, 50 Cent supposed to say that, though. Like, I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, 50 Cent, he kind of started his career dissing Jay-Z.
Yeah, I remember. I was in New York when that song first came out. I was in New York and that shit came out. Like, damn, who the fuck is this? I said, he got he dissed. I was like, he dissed him? Or was it Fat Joe? It was Big Pun, I think. Was it Big Pun?
No, I mean, How to Rob dissed everybody.
Yeah, I remember one person he dissed, like, I think it was Big Pun or Fat Joe. Somebody, I'm like, dang,
it was Big Pun. He said, Rob Pun without a gun. Grab his piece and run. Yeah, you're weighing 400 pounds. They gonna catch me, son.
Yeah. That shit was catchy to come on like that. But 50 Cent got one song that he got that's like one of my favorite all-time songs called Many Men. That Many Men song, that shit like that. I played Many Men so much, my son was too little to really be able to talk, but he knew how to sing Many Men song. That's how much I played it. He knew every word to Many Men and Akon. I'm locked up before he could even really could talk. You know what I mean?
Well, you got offered to be on Piers Morgan's show.
Yeah.
When they were talking about Diddy, but you actually turned him down.
I turned him down.
You know, and I've done Piers Morgan, I don't know, like 4 or 5 times now.
I just feel like I didn't want to go in there talking about Diddy because I don't know Diddy personally, and I was like, man. But that's my first. I just did what the first thing came to my mind. Like, no, I don't even know Diddy. What I'm gonna say? Like, you know what I mean? So, whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
But the fact that they even knew me, I'm like, y'all know me on the show.
They probably watch. Well, they watch Vlad TV, so they probably see you on my show. So you know,
I mean,
that's probably how it happens. A lot of people on my show.
But did you see? I think the girl like Tasha K. She got a joint Jay-Z son on there.
Oh, his alleged son?
No. If you talk to him personally, that's his son.
You think that's his son?
Yeah. You know what I think his son? First of all, Jay-Z offered him money. At first he offered him bread, like, and everything, but his aunt, this is like his caretaker didn't like approve of it. She said, no, Jay-Z got a lien on her house, all type of shit that was going on. Yeah, the lady put up paperwork and everything with his name on it and all that. I mean, but young boy's so thorough though, he just want a dad. He not trying to get no money, he not trying to do none of that. I mean, that's why, so I told him when he called me 2 years ago, I said, listen, I don't want to be the one to tell your story because they're gonna think I'm trying to catch rep off of it. So let me let you tell your story somewhere else first. I mean, then I could talk about it. But he called me like 2 years ago, telling me like, I mean, I said, oh, young boy. He's like, I just want a dad. I don't want no money. I'm already 18. I think he was like 20 something at the time. I mean, but something happened to him, and I was like, yo, that sounds kind of weird. He said he was coming out from work, going to work, and there was a gun in his car. Like when he opened the door, he seen the gun. He said he went to go like. Called his man, like, yo, did you leave a gun in my car? His man's like, no. He said, why you on the phone talking to his man? The cops pull up and lock him up. He said, he told the cops, no, that's not my gun. He's like, so he went in the building he was in and they seen that somebody pulled up and put the guns in his car. Oh. And pulled off. I said, bro, I don't know nobody in the hood that got guns to just waste like that to do that. I don't know what. He's like, yeah, so like Jay-Z had a gag order against him, like trying to get a gag order and trying to. If my thing is, if it's not my son, I'll just take a test, get over with. Yeah. I mean, the fact that you did dodge it and whatever, to me, I don't know. I think his mom was underage or something when he was born, so I think that's part. Oh, yeah, I think that's probably part of it.
Yeah,
but like I said again, it's not the same as now.
But is his mom still alive?
No, she died.
Huh.
She was 15 when she had him.
Oh, how old was Jay?
Like 20 something, I guess.
Oh.
Like 20, probably early 20, like 24.
We don't know if it's true. This is just...
No, but I'm saying he took...
And all eyes turned, not to the judge, not even to Rymir, but to Jay-Z. For decades, he had mastered control. He decided what the world saw, what the media said, what his image looked like. He was the king of narratives. But in that very moment, that control evaporated like smoke. At first, the cracks were subtle. His jaw twitched, his fists clenched tight, his eyes widened in disbelief. But then, he snapped. The billionaire mogul who negotiated billion-dollar deals, who walked through fire without blinking, who always stood calm. He slammed his hand against the table with a force that made the walls tremble. His head shook violently, his lips muttering words no one could catch. His lawyers leaned in desperately, trying to calm the storm, but it was useless. Jay-Z had lost control.
Alleging he's the son of Jay-Z's making more headlines than ever, Rymir Satterthwaite's been trading legal traps with the Rock Nation founder, with details spilling out across court docs surrounding his allegations. Here's everything we know about the person suing a billionaire media mogul. For one, Rymir's lawsuit alleges Jay's ignored repeated calls for a paternity test. Per Rymir and his godmother's legal filings, Rymir's mother Wanda allegedly engaging in a brief romance with a pre-famed Jay, who allegedly fathered Rymir with, at the time, a 16-year-old Wanda, who has since died. Rymir's team accusing Jay of tampering with legal proceedings, misusing his high-profile influence with public officials, along with claiming Jay's never outright denied he's Rymir's biological father. Meanwhile, Jay's new filing contends Rymir's lawsuit's just the latest in decades-long harassment. Inside the June 16th court docs obtained by E! News, Jay's attorney said the fabricated allegations and claims have been addressed and rejected in multiple other courts. Jay's team also saying they attempted contact with Rymir's godmother and co-plaintiff, but she hung up after they called to request more time to prepare their response. E! News has reached out to both Jay-Z and Rymir for comment, but has not yet heard back.
To Jay-Z and Diddy in her response?
Yeah, this is sort of like, you know, if a child asks you for something and you're trying to like teach them a lesson, you say, no, not right now. You know, go be good for a little while, then come back and ask me again. That is almost exactly what Judge Annalisa Torres did here. She wanted to send a message directly to Alex Spiro, who is obviously one of the most prolific attorneys in the country right now. I've known him for 20 years. He started as a DA in Manhattan. I knew him as a DA in Manhattan. I had cases against him as a DA in Manhattan. And he's gone on to do incredible things. But he has a very specific style. And there's a lot of people who don't like that style. And Judge Torres is one of them. He's now twice kind of taken the reins and tried to take control of the narrative of cases by putting on sort of these preemptive press conferences. He did it with Mayor Adams, and he did it now with Jay-Z, where he goes to the press and essentially puts on a PowerPoint and says, hey, this is why I think this case is garbage. This is all the inconsistencies. This is where this case fails. But it's obviously from his point of view. And so the judge doesn't like that. The other side of that, especially as for me as a defense attorney, is, well, that's what the DAs do every time they make a big arrest. That's what the federal prosecutors do every time they make a big arrest. They go in front of the camera and they put on this sort of dog and pony show press conference to like tell the nation why this is such a just arrest, why this is such a just prosecution, and to try to get public opinion behind them as they move forward in the case. It's really Alex Spiro doing the exact opposite thing to help his client, but the judge really didn't like it. And so all of that is to say that this ruling to me is specifically directed at Alex Spiro, saying, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like all the motions you're filing. I don't like how you're going about handling this case. And if you continue...
The cameras ate it all up. His face burned red with anger, fear, humiliation. This wasn't the polished image on magazine covers. This wasn't the composed businessman. This was Sean Carter, raw, vulnerable, exposed. Across the room, Ramir sat frozen, his eyes locked on the man the world had just confirmed as his father. For years, he had been dismissed, mocked, painted as a fame chaser, and now the truth finally vindicated him. But this wasn't a victory dance. His face didn't glow with triumph. It carried the weight of years of pain, years of silence, years of being denied. Sure, the DNA gave him validation, but could it ever give him back the father he never had? That was the ache sitting behind his eyes. The judge's gavel banged against the bench, trying to regain order, but the damage had already been done. Chaos exploded like wildfire. Jay-Z's lawyers begged for a recess, clawing at every second to shield him from further humiliation. But Jay? He wasn't listening. He was unraveling. He shot up from his chair, pacing back and forth, his voice breaking as words stumbled out in fragments. Gone was the eloquent rapper, the sharp businessman, the wordsmith. What spilled out was messy, frantic, desperate. A man drowning as the cameras kept rolling. And the world? Oh, it was feasting. Social media caught fire, memes, clips, endless debates. Fans outside screamed, some sobbing in defense, others cursing his name. The mogul image dissolved in real time. What was left was just a man facing the avalanche of secrets he thought he'd buried forever. Jay slumped back into his chair, his head in his hands, his body shaking. No empire, no dollar sign, no carefully crafted legacy could erase the truth. The DNA was undeniable, and the weight of it pressed down harder than any courtroom walls could hold. For Beyonce, for his kids, for his empire. The fallout was just beginning. The courtroom had emptied, but the storm wasn't gone. It was only gathering force. Jay-Z sat slumped, his shoulders heavy, his head buried in his palms. The titan who once moved industries with a nod was now still, trembling, and painfully human. For the first time in decades, Sean Carter didn't have an answer, didn't have a move to play. The cameras caught it all, every raw frame. By morning, the world had already seen him crack. Headlines painted the picture brutally clear. Jay-Z confirmed as father in explosive courtroom reveal. Ramir vindicated after years of denial. Music mogul loses control in shocking breakdown. There was no spin left. No carefully curated brand statement could erase the images replaying on every screen. Jay-Z, the untouchable mogul, broken under the weight of truth. For years, Ramir had been the punchline, the outsider, the one knocking on the door nobody wanted to open. Now, he was the son the world couldn't ignore, but if anyone thought this was a celebration for him, they were wrong. The validation was bittersweet. The courtroom confirmed the DNA, yes, but it didn't erase the long nights of wondering why he wasn't acknowledged, the birthdays spent without a father, the silence where there should have been guidance. His face, caught on camera, wasn't triumphant. It was haunted. Because truth doesn't always heal. Sometimes it just cuts deeper. Meanwhile, outside those courthouse walls, the world was already ripping apart. Fans clashed in the streets, some defending Jay-Z fiercely. His music changed the game. This doesn't change who he is. Others were vicious. He lied for years. He denied his own blood. How do you respect that? On social media, hashtags trended like wildfire. Number Jay-Z exposed, number Ramir vindicated, number DNA revealed. Clips of Jay's hand slamming the table racked up millions of views within hours. Memes mocked his breakdown. Debates raged over his character, his empire, even his marriage to Beyonce. And let's be real, if anyone had the most to lose outside of Jay himself, it was Beyoncé. The world stared at her now, asking, what would she do? How would she react? The queen of composure, the woman who built an empire alongside her husband, was she blindsided too? Or had she known all along? The questions buzzed louder than any paparazzi flash. For her children, the story was even crueler. Overnight, their family name, their father, their entire world had been dragged into a scandal they never asked for. For them, Jay wasn't a mogul, he was just dad. And now dad was exposed. Jay-Z's empire was suddenly a house of cards wobbling under a storm. Boardrooms panicked. Partnerships whispered about brand risk. Every business deal, every endorsement, every billion-dollar negotiation suddenly tainted. Because this wasn't just about music anymore. This was about integrity, family, reputation. And in the world Jay-Z lived in, reputation was currency. Inside, Jay fought to regain composure. But every time he opened his mouth, the cracks showed. He paced. He shook his head. He lashed out, words tumbling in anger and disbelief. His lawyers scrambled, pulling at every legal trick they had, begging for delays, spinning narratives, but the truth was out. The DNA didn't care about strategy. The DNA didn't care about spin. It was over. For Rymir, the moment should have been a crown of vindication, but instead it was a bittersweet dagger. Cameras caught the pain behind his eyes as he sat, watching the man who had denied him for so long finally be forced to acknowledge him, not with words, but with cold science. People cheered for him, yes. Fans applauded his fight, yes, but nobody could give him back the lost years. Nobody could make Jay-Z go back in time and be the father he needed. The victory was hollow, a wound dressed with truth but still bleeding with absence. And the world, oh, the world wasn't gentle. They tore the story apart piece by piece, dragging old interviews, dissecting lyrics, questioning how much of Jay-Z's empire was built on buried lies. The internet buzzed with theories. Did Beyoncé know? How would this affect their marriage? Would Jay-Z's children accept Rymir? Could the Carters survive this earthquake? Memes and debates drowned out music charts. Every beat Jay had ever dropped, every lyric, every deal, it was all under the microscope now. For years, Jay-Z had been more than a rapper. He was a symbol of power, a mogul who rose from Brooklyn streets to billionaire status. But in that courtroom, with one DNA test, he was stripped bare. The world didn't see the mogul anymore. They saw a man, flawed, vulnerable, exposed. When the judge's gavel fell one last time, marking the close of the day, the silence it left behind was deafening. Jay-Z didn't move. He stayed seated, head heavy in his hands, shoulders sagging like the weight of an empire was crashing down on him. Everyone else left, but he sat frozen. For a man who always dictated the story, this was the one he couldn't control. The truth had spoken louder than any beat he had ever produced. Louder than any lyric he had ever written. Louder than any billion-dollar deal he had ever signed. And the truth was merciless. That day wasn't just a courtroom verdict, it was a reckoning. Jay-Z was no longer untouchable, no longer just the icon, no longer just the mogul. He was a man forced to face the secrets he thought would never come to light. And for Rymir, it was a closure he'd fought for years to get, but one that could never truly heal the scars. Because DNA can prove blood, but it can't prove love. The world now waits. What's next for Jay-Z? Can he rebuild his empire, or has the crack turned into a collapse? Can Beyoncé and their family weather the storm, or will this fracture tear them apart? No one knows yet, but one thing is certain. The world will never forget the day Sean Carter lost control. And as the echoes of that gavel still linger, one truth cuts sharper than any lyric Jay-Z ever wrote. Sometimes even kings bleed.